And blessed are the great, for they shall receive their just rewards.
Have you been saintly with credit in the past? If your credit record is rated great, Avantcard can offer you Ireland's lowest rate on loans over €20,000. So whether you've been dreaming of an upgraded kitchen, better bathroom or snazzier car, see if we can answer your prayers.
For more info, go to avantcard.ie.
Limited time offer. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. New applications only. Information correct as of February 1st, 2019. See bonkers.ie. Avantcard DAC trading as Avantcard is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Yeah. It's not like he's trading crap and it's not like he's trading magic beans or something like that.
He's not trading Angelo Esposito and a late number one for Marian Hossa, right?
I mean, that deal killed the entire franchise. Atlanta had to move after that.
It really did, actually. That was kind of their death knell when Esposito was, and I forget who the number one pick was, who never made the NHL. And the Penguins got Pascal Dupuis to boot.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The throw-in.
Yeah, the throw-in.
The Donut is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smart way to buy and resell tickets. It takes confusion out of buying tickets. They put a 0 to 10 score on each ticket to let you know if you're getting a good or bad deal. Use promo code DONUTBAG to get $20 off your first purchase. Go to SeatGeek.com or get the SeatGeek app. SeatGeek, life's an event. We have the tickets. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Donut Bag, part of the Pod Hub Network. In this episode, I welcome back Dan Kingerski from Pittsburgh Hockey Now. The regular season is winding down and the Penguins are heating up. Are they ready for the playoffs? The Donut Bag starts right now. After a roller coaster of a season, and with only 5 games left, the Penguins are only 3 points out of the Metro Division lead. Are they ready for the playoffs? With me to talk about that is Dan Kingerski from Pittsburgh Hockey Now. How are you, sir?
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Doing all right. So, Penguins are just... Where do we begin? It feels like a roller coaster, doesn't it? There were a lot more lows than highs earlier in the year, and now it's just like the past month or so has just been like a skyrocket meteor, like that new roller coaster, that new Steelers roller coaster at Kennywood.
I'm going to go full-on geek here with you. Franklin Templeton. You ever heard of Franklin Templeton Advisors? The founder, John Templeton, used to have a saying about the stock market. He said it was like a yo-yo. If you watch the yo-yo too much go up and down, you lose sight of the fact that the guy carrying the yo-yo is walking uphill. And I think the Penguins season has been a lot like that. If you focus on the Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, it feels like a roller coaster and really up and down. But if you take it in bigger chunks and months, this has been building since December. And I think part of what Penguins fans feel like, oh my God, they're here, they're ready, is realizing how far they've come since October and November when they were in the bottom of the Eastern Conference and really were just a lackluster, lackadaisical hockey team. And in comparison, it seems chaotic, but the reality is they've just been building piece by piece almost the entire season.
Yeah, and it seemed like the issue all year was whether the team will buy into the system. It seemed like, regardless, I mean, there have been trades, there have been, new people and stuff, but it seemed like the games where they just were out of it or were just losing a lot. We were saying, when are they going to buy into the system? When they do the system the way Sullivan wants, everything goes well. But when they don't, it just doesn't. And it just seemed to click for the past, month or so.
It has. It's kind of funny you bring that up because my Thursday morning column deals very specifically with your question and that issue. And Sullivan was herding cats for the first 40, maybe 45, 50 games. Don't underestimate the personnel changes. Bringing in 2 guys like Bukestad and McCann who bought in wholeheartedly immediately. So, you kind of swap out a couple guys who are on the periphery and not contributing nearly as much for Bjugstad and McCann, who are full buy-ins. Then you've got the top line with Sidney Crosby, always a full buy-in. And so that changes the whole complexion of everything. Bring in Branson, who's having the time of his life, it is, getting back to the playoffs. Actually, he's been in the playoffs, I think, once before. He, McCann, Bjugstad, all these new guys, no one's ever won a playoff series. So they're really excited, and that buy-in has been, I guess, the byproduct of that excitement. And Sullivan really, I think, has his team now, and they're doing all of those things that they needed to do. They're doing them now because they want to.
Do you think also that all the injuries helped, especially that Stadium Series game where Letang and Dumoulin went down? That also seemed to, people were saying, oh my god, they're really screwed now. They just lost their top two defensemen, and that's when they went on their tear. I don't know. Do you think that the injuries also had something to do?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd use the word helped so much as forced them really into Sullivan's system. They had to, they rallied around the defensemen, the four remaining defensemen, in that Stadium Series game. And they had a lot of success. And so it was easy to build on that for the next game. And the next game, like, hey, this is successful. And, part necessity, part new players getting their roles. Also in the Stadium Series game is when the Penguins finally really installed Nick Bjugstad as the third-line center with Patric Hörnqvist. And that combination and that line has made all of the difference in the world with the Penguins. Just the way they play that low, below-the-dots, gritty game, it really translates well to what Sullivan wants and feeds the rest of the team, too. So you had, kind of adversity pushing all of these factors together. A bit of the perfect storm. The Penguins could have been very screwed if they had kind of taken that breath and said, it was a nice run. Then, they really would have been in trouble. But instead, they really showed a lot of heart and character and did what needed to be done, which then became successful. And, success breeds more success.
Isn't it amazing that Jim Rutherford went from the village idiot to a genius? Bringing in Jack Johnson, trading for Goodbranson, when Brassard and Sheehan were traded, people liked the move, but it's not like they said, oh, well, this is going to change everything. And it kind of did change everything.
Yeah. It very much did change everything. Penguins fans have been really quick on the trigger this year. Going back to June when Jack Johnson was brought in, that was kind of like when the roller coaster strap, the head device came over everybody and the roller coaster took off. What do they call it, like the Hans device or the shoulder restraints or whatever the hell it is. And really, I think a lot of fans kind of lost their marbles, and there were a lot of, I'm trying to be nice about it, but there were a lot of the wrong people leading the discussion. There were megaphones and people just piling on to get clicks or to be heard or to get attention, whatever you have. And so it created this really toxic, volatile situation in the Penguins fan base when the reality was Rutherford was going to try to make Derek Brassard work. He's too talented not to give it a shot. It didn't. He made a great trade. He was going to try to make Daniel Sprong work. He didn't. He made a great trade. And, the Carl Hagelin thing was a team shakeup. But there again, all's well that ends well. You get Goodbranson. So, he was only a village idiot if you didn't look at the bigger picture. If you focused on the yo-yo and not the hill, he was a doddering old man, I guess. But That's why you kind of always have to take a step back and look at it from the top and the future prospects too.
I wonder if we're at the point where other GMs talk to Jim Rutherford, and Rutherford says something like, "Oh, I really like so and so." It's like, whoa, man, maybe I shouldn't trade him. Maybe we should keep him. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, look, Jim Rutherford's given some pretty fair deals. So if I'm a GM and Jim Rutherford calls, I'm listening because I'm getting a pretty good player or a pretty good deal in return too.
Yeah. It's not like he's trading crap, and it's not like he's trading magic beans or something like that.
He's not trading Angelo Esposito and a late number 1 for Marian Hossa, right?
I mean, that deal killed the entire franchise. Atlanta had to move after that.
It really did, actually. That was kind of their death knell when Esposito was, and I forget who the number 1 pick was, who never made the NHL. And the Penguins got Pascal Dupuis to boot.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The throw-in.
Yeah, the throw-in.
Who was the glue guy for years. Amazing. But all that said, they've been playing great, but there is still so many uncertainties. Malkin's going to come back. Hopefully Letang comes back. But Olli Määttä sounds like he's going to come back really soon, and that could throw the defensive pairings all over the place. I saw you wrote an article on Pittsburgh Hockey Now about what happens when Olli Määttä comes back. Who is the odd man out?
Well, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I know, fans are kind of waiting with bated breath, and there's some anxiety about it. I really tried to parse Sullivan's comments today. At first, I thought he was saying that Määttä wasn't going to be in the lineup, just the way I read them. But the more they sat with me, and I actually rewrote my column about a minute before I published it at 8 a.m. or so, that I dug deeper into the words. He was saying Määttä is one of those guys. Yeah, I mean, look, at worst case scenario, okay, if Määttä flames out, doesn't fit, isn't healthy, isn't good when he comes back, worst case scenario, the Penguins still have these 3 pairings, be it Trotton or Letang on the first pairing. And make no mistake, by the way, the Penguins are going to stick with this right-left combo. They've realized how important it is. Why they didn't realize this in the first part of the season, I really don't know, but better late than never. So worst case, they default back to what the defense pairings have been since the Stadium Series, essentially, or just after the Stadium Series, with Goodbranson and Pettersson and Johnson and Schultz with Letang and Dumoulin. And if Määttä plays really well with Schultz and plays better than Jack Johnson, well, that's a plus. And maybe Johnson and Goodbranson play together in one of the most fearsome defense pairings the Penguins have ever had. That's the potential that the Penguins have got. So they've got nothing to lose right now. For a couple of games, they're playing with house money. And then if they're losing, you go back to what worked. Yeah.
I like how you called it Mike Sullivan poker. He telegraphs his moves without declining to answer the question. But I'm so excited about this defense. This is one of the best defensive cores in years that they've had, in terms of just skill and toughness, and especially toughness. I mean, I'm excited to see what Jack Johnson and Goodbranson are going to do in the playoffs. And I'm sure the other players are too when they're not knocked around as much.
Well, yeah, the Penguins are excited. Maybe the opponents aren't, which is a first. This really is the best core the Penguins have had since 2016, when they had Letang, Trevor Daley, Justin Schultz. I'm trying, Brian Dumoulin and Olli Määttä, and I forget who the 6th defenseman was. Forgive me,
Ian
but.
Cole.
Ian Cole, there you go. Schultz and Cole. How could I forget that? But yeah, that was a really great pairing too. It wasn't as physical as this one. It was a bit more offensive. This blue line really fits well with the Penguins' lurch toward the below-the-dots, gritty style of play. They can still use one more big shot at the top, Marcus Pettersson's been stepping into the blue line and, kind of stepping into that top zone to